So in today's video, let's delve into some cases that have leaked for the 2021 iPad Pro and showcase possibly less speakers on this year's model. We also have information from iOS 14.5 code, which reveals that yes, an A14X has been in the works and should be launching very soon on the next iPad, and also we have information from Jon Prosser that these iPads should be launching very soon, and they are already in mass production. So there is a lot to delve into, and so without further ado, make sure to like and subscribe for the latest Apple news and rumors, and with that being said, let's just tuck in. So let's begin with the cases. ESR, a pretty popular case manufacturer, has revealed a few cases for the 2021 iPad Pro that I've delved into in previous videos, but this folio case in particular showcases a change that might be significant, and that is less speaker holes. To be specific, we see the 11-inch iPad Pro go from 13 holes per speaker to 8 holes per speaker, and the 12.9-inch iPad Pro goes from 17 holes to 11. That is quite a hit when it comes to the amount of speaker holes, and of course you might be wondering, does this have an effect on the audio quality? Will it be worse? Well, I don't think so, because Apple rarely downgrades the audio experience, especially on the iPads, since they've been pretty solid for the last few years. And so what I'm thinking is maybe Apple's implementing some technology I've heard about where basically they shrink the volume of the speaker, but the audio quality actually stays pretty much the same or even could get better. I actually remember hearing about this coming to the iPhone 12, though I'm not sure if it made it to the final product, though because of the iPad Pro's mini LED panel, maybe Apple has to save some space within the casing of the iPad Pro, and so that's why the physical volume of the speakers is less. But rest assured, if Apple does implement this, the audio quality should be just as good as the current models, or it might get even better. Anyways, let's now move on to the next story, and that is, in iOS 14.5 code, we see reference to the A14X chip that we should expect with the next iPad Pro. So essentially, in iOS 14.5, there seems to be a reference to a GPU from a chip called 13G, and it's been worked out that this 13G is actually referring to the A14X SoC. Now, since this is mentioned in iOS 14.5 beta code, it leads me to believe that the release of the iPad Pro is pretty imminent, and maybe we see iOS 14.5 launch with the iPad Pro to the public. Now, what's more interesting to me about this leak is that apparently the A14X they found and the code related to it is very similar to the T8103, which, by the way, is the code name for the M1. So, like a lot of leaks have suggested, it does seem like the A14X will be a rebranded version of the M1, which of course will hopefully mean the iPad Pro will finally get Pro apps and should get more macOS-like features. And to make things extra bait, we also find codes for 4 new iPads. We find J517, J518, J522, and J523. And so I'm assuming that's referring to the Wi-Fi version and the cellular versions of both sizes of the iPad Pro. And finally, we come to Jon Prosser because he's revealed a few tidbits on his podcast, Genius Bar, about the new iPad Pro, and that begins with the fact he believes mass production for the new iPad Pros have already begun. Now, this is really surprising news because you might remember I covered a report from Min-Chi Kuo stating the iPad Pros will go into mass production in late April, and so the fact Jon disagrees completely is pretty interesting. Now, honestly, I'm not sure who to side with because we of course have Min-Chi Kuo, a very reputable analyst, but his timelines have been wrong in the past, whereas Jon Prosser is pretty good when it comes to dates and knowing when things will go into mass production. though at the same time, the man just lost his eyebrows because he got bamboozled and thought an event would take place on the 23rd of March, but apparently that was fake info given by Apple to confuse us. And so again, this information could also be the same. It could be Timothy trying to fool us again. And so I'm gonna remain skeptical about this and just hope for the best. But tell me in the comments below, are you on Team John or are you on Team Ming-Chi Kuo? Anyways, thank you for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe. For the latest Apple news and rumors, check out the video in the icon above about our first look at the smaller notch on the iPhone 13. And on that note, I'll see you guys in the next one. See ya, peeps.